was the last time you felt truly desired in your intimate life? Not for what you do, but who you are when you stop holding back. If your connection feels predictable and you feel like something's been missing or there's a spark that you're yearning to explore, I think it's time to flip the script. When we're in partnership, sometimes we fall into patterns. The same positions, the same rhythm, the same routine night. We call this comfort, but often it's autopilot. It's not exciting. What we can see over time, and it's super common, is that sometimes desire starts to fade. And not because it disappears, but because we stop inviting anything new. If you've ever found yourself wondering, why doesn't this feel exciting anymore? I know this all too well because it's happened to me so many times. I particularly remember one night I was kissing my partner, and I realized in that moment I knew exactly what was going to happen next. I could tell you a step-by-step playbook of what our intimacy was going to look like. It's the same touch, the same size, the same noises, the same destination. And the thing is, I wasn't bored, but I also wasn't lit up. And then it hit me. We weren't doing anything wrong. We had just stopped being curious. We stopped taking risks. We stopped talking about what we desired and what inspired us and what lit us up on the inside. We honestly just stopped talking about what we wanted. Because at the beginning of a relationship, that's usually what we do often. But then somewhere along the line, we tend to lose that skill. And I'll be the first to tell you that maybe you didn't have that skill to begin with. It can be so daunting to ask for what we want, to say our desires out loud. And what really comes down to it is the topics of permission or invitation. Before I give you some core skills to get your desires met, I want to invite a bit of a mindset shift for you to try. Most people, especially the women I work with, they think that they need permission to explore. Permission to try kink, permission to wear the outfit, permission to voice a fantasy. But here's the truth. You don't need permission. You need an invitation. It's either an invitation that you give to yourself or an invitation that you extend to your partner. Try it with me. Which sounds sexier? Asking for permission, which it sometimes is in kink, or giving a sexy invitation. This isn't about performing. This is about feeling. Feeling fully, feeling freely, and feeling with presence and with play and being so proud of our desires. As a professional kink mentor, this is exactly what I would recommend doing to not only talk about your desires, but get them met. First thing is first. If you want to explore a desire, try something new, flip the script and get out of this rut, you do need to talk about it. And ironically, talking about it and communicating about these things with your partner is far more important than the action. Think of this as the foreplay before the fun. Because in reality, trying something new doesn't start in the bedroom. In fact, bringing up something in the heat of the moment is probably the worst place to do it. And sometimes that's what we're used to. None of us were taught how to have these conversations. So when we have desires or we want something new, we might avoid them, or we might drop them in mid-sex. Or we bottle it up until they leak sideways and we get frustrated, or we go to silence because we have unmet needs. Step 1, choose the right moment. Choosing the right moment to speak about your desires and wanting to try something new is about choosing a neutral setting where you are both calm and ready to have this conversation. This means not having a conversation during an elevated state of being. So not when you're fighting, not when you're super emotional, and certainly not in the middle of sex, since it's very hard to process and consent to something new when you're in the middle of an emotional spike. Pick a neutral and connected moment, like after a meal, during a coffee, maybe as you're cuddling up in bed. Your goal here is curiosity, not pressure. And when we remove the heightened emotional states that we can be in, we do actually invite a calmer place to approach these things. Step 2, use I statements, not criticism. Instead of, why don't you ever initiate? Why don't you ever do something new? Try this. I've really been feeling a pull towards a more playful energy between us. I would really love to try something new with you. Or, I've really been enjoying our sex life right now. How do you feel about expanding our horizons? Or, I've really been loving our intimacy lately, and it's made me feel really comfortable to experiment and hopefully explore something new if you're open to it. Or, I've been curious about X, Y, or Z. Can we talk about how that might feel for us? Or, I saw something that really excited me and really turned me on, and I would love to do it together. Can I tell you more about it? Notice, none of these statements demand an outcome. They are purely an invitation, and they are so playful. Step number 3, ask your partner about their desires. This can't just be your wish list. Invite your partner's curiosities on the table and remind yourself that if you want your partner to listen to you and consider your desires, it is only fair that we do exactly the same. Try saying something like, what's something we haven't done that you've been really curious about? If we had a night to experiment, what would you like to try? Or, what do you wish I would initiate more often? Or, is there anything that's inspired you lately that you'd love to try in the bedroom together? You're creating a space where both of you get to show up, not just as lovers, but as explorers. 4, make sure to normalize nervousness. What did I say at the beginning of this masterclass? We are usually not given the tools to know how to do this. It's okay to say, hey, this feels really vulnerable to bring up. Or, hey, I'm feeling super nervous about expressing this desire to you. Or, I don't really have this desire figured out, but I'd really want to figure that out together. That honesty is so sexy, and it is intimacy in action. Once you talk about your desires and what you're interested in, your next step is going to be consent. This is going to be talking about your boundaries, your limits, where is okay to do what is a safe word. So for example, a consent conversation could be along the lines of, I love this fantasy. This is how it would feel good in my body. I have some boundaries around touching A, B, and C of my body, but you can totally touch these other parts. And while we're doing this fantasy, a limit, which is something we do not ever cross, would be X, Y, and Z. Once it's super clear what your boundaries and limits are, in terms of how you're going to play with your new fantasy and desire, what exactly it involves, and what you're available for and what you're not available for, it's always fun to choose a consent system such as a safe word, or I like to use the traffic light system. A safe word is something we use in kink that we can call at any time to stop play immediately. So for example, a lot of people use the safe word pineapple, mine is Houston, you get the deal. When this word is called, no matter what you're doing, everything stops and you check in. This could be because maybe it was too intense, or maybe you're not feeling ready for it, or it could be something as simple as you need to go to the bathroom or you need to itch your nose. If you choose to use the traffic light system, you are going to use red, yellow, and green. Red would be a complete stop. So if I say red, all of our play in our fantasy and our desire exploration will stop. If I say yellow, that is going to say, I need to slow down. I would love to check in. This is usually a space where you need to modify something. Something needs to change in order for you to feel more comfortable. And what I love about the traffic light system is if you say green, that means I want more. I want more of what is happening here. It feels so good. Make these consent conversations part of the sexy planning of exploring something new and flipping the script. And you've been able to talk about your desires, and I know for a fact that they are starting to feel like foreplay, that it is super hot to do it. I want to invite you to look at your current space. What do you already have that you can already start changing the mood? When we talk about flipping the script with MARIEMUR, we talk about flipping conversations. trying new items, and flipping the current reality we have. So what do you already have that can be flipped? Would this be trying out new lighting in the bedroom? Would this be creating a new playlist together? Would this be trying out things that are maybe not sexual, but spending more time together? Is it cooking together? Is it reading a book together? Think about the immediate things in your surroundings that you can also start changing to enhance intimacy. And as you've talked about your desires, maybe there are certain desires or kinks or interest that they might pique your interest, but you're not entirely sure how they work. You're not entirely sure how to do it right. So part of the foreplay leading up to this new way of playing, this new desire, can also be getting educated on it. Is that taking a class together? Is that getting mentorship from someone like me? Is that going to a live course at a local kink area? Is that taking a course from MARIEMUR? Think about any of the things you can do together to make you feel safe, equipped, but also just super excited to explore this new thing with your partner. These conversations alone, alongside being able to be so open and so creative with how you're exploring with a partner, already flips the script. I can promise you that just having these conversations flips the same old to, wow, this is super hot. We can really start creating some beautiful magic. And our last and final step, turn this type of talk into foreplay. The world of kink is special because we get to turn anything into something super sexy, such a turn on, such a core part of foreplay, including having these conversations. Because this is where communication meets arousal. Have you been discussing a fantasy or something new that you want to try together? Text them about it and tell them that you're thinking about it. Whisper it in their ear before bed and tell them how excited you are to try something new. Pick out things that are going to enhance that fantasy. Go shopping together. Are you going to buy a new bodysuit? Are you going to buy a leather set? Are you going to get handcuffs? Do you have a scene or a fantasy in mind that's going to involve getting some props? Make sure to get those together, like a sexy bodysuit, some new leather, some cuffs. Let that conversation itself build the anticipation. Your homework after this masterclass is to create a mini scenario together. You are going to write a shared fantasy. Try this tonight. I promise you it will not disappoint, and it is one of my favorite things to do in my partnership. Each of you is going to write down a setting of where you would like this fantasy to happen, what type of mood you want this fantasy to have, and what tools and modalities are needed to make that fantasy happen. And when you're writing these, don't be afraid to get really detailed. The more detailed, the better. Again, it's hot, it's foreplay, it's like dirty talk. When you're feeling ready, trade them, read them, and talk about them. Even if you've never acted out, you've already created a spark of novelty together. You're already trying something new and exciting that is flipping the script of your same old. What I have found personally when I want to try new things or get into a different energy or just feel like my most alive, sensual, kinky self is to actually play with what I wear. I have a shift in energy when I wear things such as this harness, as this choker, and it's not just to look hot, but it's to feel different in my body. It's like the minute I put this on, I feel like Superwoman. I feel so sexy. Whether it's a lace bodysuit, a harness, leather cuffs, a strappy set of underwear, maybe even something you wear underneath your clothing to feel like a nice little kinky secret. This is the power and presence of MARIEMUR. MARIEMUR pieces aren't just beautiful, but they are transformative. They're the kind of thing that you want to wear when you want to feel powerful, or you want to feel soft, or you want to feel absolutely ravaged and taken. Pick one out for yourself as a little self-love, and pick one out with your partner. And make it a ritual. Make it part of this sexy communication that makes all your desires and fantasies come to life. As we're closing up today, I want to celebrate you for being here, and I want to remind you that desire doesn't disappear. It just gets buried under predictability. You don't need to know how to be fully wild. You don't need to know how to be fully kinky. You just need to be willing, to be courageous, to trust your voice, your heart, your desires, to ask and to receive, because baby, you deserve all of it. So the next time you feel things are on repeat, flip the script. Use the tools I gave you today, because your intimacy deserves more than routine. It deserves exploration. It deserves discovery. Again, my name is Julieta Chiara, and it is an honor to be here. Make sure to follow MARIEMUR for curated pieces, playful prompts, and curated guides that help you bring your desires to life, with or without a partner. You are not too much. You are not too late. You are just one story and one conversation away from everything you have been craving.